All right, hey YouTube. Hey guys, tonight I'm going to do a video about Ideamaker, and this is a free program, and they just updated it December 18th, and they added a bunch more features, mainly to the advanced adjustments in your slicer. So what we're going to do here is I'm just gonna drop in a benchy, just for everybody knows what a benchy is. I hope, I think, maybe. If you're running a slicer, you kind of have to have a 3D printer, and you should probably know what a benchy is. Now, most of it is pretty much the same. You bring stuff in, you can move it, click the move, and anytime you move something, you should come over here and click on platform just to make sure that it sets back down on the platform. I have noticed that since they updated it, I haven't needed to move my models down and adjust from where they say it's on the platform to actually being on the platform. I haven't had to mess with that since they updated it. So that's plus. You got rotate here. You can actually scale the size of your model. You can make it bigger and smaller, and that's just, you click on it and bigger, smaller. Pretty simple. And then you can do free cuts. So basically you can take a big model, you can drop it in, you can slice it so that it fits your bed, and then save the pieces and be able to print it in multiple pieces to glue it together later, which that feature was there before, but I'm just kind of giving you guys a quick run through of the whole program. There's reset, so basically you just click it and that goes back to exactly how it was dropped in. There's a repair feature, and usually right down here in the corner it'll come up with a little warning to tell you whether or not, whether non-manifold edges or whatever. It'll tell you there's something wrong with the model, and you can click on that and it'll do its best to repair it. I have had a couple of models that I've dropped in that weren't able to solve, and there was some weird stuff going on. I mean, it would have been printable, but there would have been some weird stuff going on, so I just ixnayed them and did something different to fix it. But then of course you just go in here to hit the play button and go to slice, and then you've got your template set up, and then you're going to go to, if you want to adjust it, you're going to go to edit, and then it will bring up this window here. And I was just printing some something that I wanted pretty solid, so I had it at 50% with 5 outer shells to make the outer shells stronger. Normally I run 4 shells, and I usually run at 20% infill. That's just pretty standard on how I run it. You can go to advanced, and then when you come into advanced, there's some really cool new features that I'm really glad they added in here. One of them being in the temperature setting. You can come here, and this is where you would set the temperature for your extruder, the temperature for your bed. But now, with a lot of these bigger printers that are coming out, like the CR10 and the TiVo and stuff like that, they've actually got this set up to where when you're running PLA, you don't actually have to have a heated bed. It is nice to have a heated bed, but with a big printer like that, it can suck down a lot of power. So basically what they've done here is they put this in to where at different layer heights you can actually drop the temperature of your bed. So once you've got good adhesion and you know that it's not going to be warping and stuff on you, I've just got it set up here to where it steps down and it drops down to 35C, and it just keeps printing along. And I think that's awesome. That's a killer feature. I really appreciate them putting that in for us. And then they did kind of change the layout a little bit, and I haven't quite figured out. There were some other options that they kind of deleted that I'm still trying to figure out exactly how to change those. Like there was one where it wouldn't the path wouldn't go through open holes. So like if you were printing something that you had some screw holes or whatever that needed to go through it, so your print path wouldn't go through it at all. So it looks like they deleted that completely, which is fine. I mean, that's not a huge deal. But everything else is pretty much the same. It's laid out just a little bit differently. But like on my little Ender, that thing is just, that's a great little printer, and it works on just about any setting I throw at it. It'll still print decent. So I really haven't found anything that messes that thing up too much. You know, I've got mine set at Z-hop retraction, you know, retraction speed at 60 mils a second. Retraction amount is 5.5 millimeters for my retraction, and that's just so that you don't get stringing anywhere where it's jumping an open hole. I really don't. The stringing is not a big deal, but I really don't like the looks of it when you're printing something out and you got a bunch of strings going across your print. It just looks gross. So I like to have a pretty fast retraction speeds and retract quite a bit, just so I don't get that. Infill density, you know, it's all still pretty standard. But you know, they kind of did the same thing. They had this set up for the cooling before, for your cooling fan, for your parts fan, which the Ender doesn't have from the factory, but I added one in, and so now I'm able to actually go through and actually use this, which I was never able to use before. So this is kind of a nice feature. I do like being able to set my parts cooling fan to it does actually help the Ender quite a bit. If you happen to have an Ender and you're gonna do anything to it, I would suggest the first thing you do to it is put a parts cooling fan on it. And I do have a video of how to install one, and it's super simple. You can click back through my videos and find that, and it's pretty easy to do. I just downloaded a file off of Thingiverse for the Fang parts cooler. I think it looks cool, and it was something that I was able just to throw on here and print out real quick, and then add the fan in. You know, so they have another nice thing that they have here is they give you some options for your start G code and end G code. And if you do have a heated bed, you will have to make sure the first time you set this up, whether you ran the last version of Ideamaker or you're just coming into Ideamaker, you will need to come to the G code and actually click this guy here for the heat up automatic start G code. Otherwise, the heated bed it's not going to heat up for you. So you do need to click that little box and make sure that that's added. But other than that, you know, it's pretty much the same layout. This is the 3.0 version, I believe. I don't think it tells you anywhere in these where, yeah, maybe it does. Okay, 3.0.5. Okay, so, and like I said, they just released this on December 18th. So I just happened to stumble upon it and downloaded it, and I'm liking it. It works really good, guys. So if you've never used Ideamaker before, I can't say enough about this program. For a free program, this thing, it works great, and there's a ton of good options in here. So yeah, if you're kind of on the fence on which one to use, I like this one a lot, and it's pretty fast. So hit slice, bam, sliced. Okay, so, and this is trust me, guys, this is on a crappy computer. This computer is pretty much junk, but it does actually slice pretty fast. There's some other stuff in here that they added too. So when you go to your preview slice, you can come down here and you can actually click on structure. And so they had this before, but they didn't have this cool little window over here that tells you what every color, what every individual color means as you go through the slice. So as you cut this thing down and slice it down, okay, so you've got your inner shells, your outer shells are going to be that kind of maroon color. The inner shells are green. Any bridging, that's basically printing over the top of an open space, your infill or whatever. The first layer over the top of your infill, I believe, is the bridge. That's so that'll come up red. You'll see that down towards the bottom. Your supports come in a different color, which is great. It just makes it a lot more visually appealing as you slice this down and really be able to look at what your slice is doing. Okay. So, and then there's also, so that's under structure, and then there's also speed. So as you come up with this, it's going to show you in color how fast you're actually printing, how fast you have it set to print. So you can see the infill is a little bit more on the green side, because I print my infill pretty fast. I think I'm printing it at almost 60 mils a second. So yeah, this is the new Ideamaker, and those are just some of the features that they've added in. Some of the stuff that I've come across that I noticed was different. So yeah, if you haven't tried it yet, I suggest it. It's a great program, and like I said, that new heated bed temperature adjustments is great. Like I say, if you're running a big printer, that's a big plus. So that's it for tonight, guys. Until next time, keep making cool stuff. All right.